now that Amazon's doing Man in the High Castle, there seems to be a growing fascination with the idea of America being subjugated and how we're dealing with it.
I think it's an interesting thing that sometimes ideas get in the ether, and I remember when Big was made, there were like 3 body switching movies all within a short period of time. I don't know. I mean, I'm not quite sure what. I really don't know, how it happened that show and our show came on the sort of scene at the same time. I mean, actually, ours was started well before that, because Ron and I have been working on Colony for 2 years. Unfortunately, we're going to come out after them, but we did start before them. And for us, I think it seemed like a fascinating subject. Every country in the world most countries in the world have either been a colony or a colonizer, and this idea that humans are very adept at subjugating each other is something that felt like it was really worth exploring in a television show.
What can you tell us about this Geronimo, this new character that's being introduced today, I believe?
Well, there's the occupation in Los Angeles is about a little less than a year old, and as with many of these occupations, there is a nascent guerrilla movement, resistance movement, and Geronimo appears to be the kind of central leader of this movement, and he's the character that Josh's character is assigned to hunt for the occupation during the pilot.
There you go. That's him. I'm hunting him.
So something I'm interested in is what sort of sets Colony apart, because it's almost like when we were in that zombie phase. Now we're sort of in the dystopian near feature phase. What sets Colony apart from the rest of
first of all, it's not dystopian. We're in Los Angeles, and it's got palm trees and blue sky, and the city itself is beautiful. The incongruity of the fact that we're in this sort of beautiful world, and certain things work great. Like there's no cars except for among the very privileged, so you can zip across LA on a bus in 7 minutes, which is kind of a very non-dystopian fantasy, and it's not in the near future, it's set right now, but I think there's so many models in the world. If you look at we propped up a regime in Afghanistan and in Iraq and other places, and so what are the consequences of being sort of setting in motion some sort of government system that has been manipulated by an outside force to oversee and ultimately subjugate another group of people? It just felt like it's something that's happening now, and it's happened very much historically. Juan Campanella, who directed our pilot in the first 2 episodes, came from Argentina, and he brought a whole realm of experience growing up under an oppressive regime in Argentina as a kid, and so he was really familiar with it. Our DP had grown up in Peru in a similar circumstance, so it's not an uncommon experience. It was just something that we felt like we could dramatize.
It's one of the oldest human stories, occupation. It's just what we do to each other. So this is not a new, trendy thing. This is an old story set with a backdrop of science fiction, which is also a wonderful tool for us to tell this story without it being CNN. I mean, it's like this is happening now. These things are happening now. It's just, this allows the audience to watch it maybe in a different way and not like you would watch the news.
If sci-fi is a prism in which we can look at ourselves, which has always been used that,
yes.
So what is it saying about us? What do you feel that this is saying about us, about our society?
It's saying a lot of things. It's saying what is right, and it depends on the situation. I mean, who would you save, humanity or your children, and who's first? It poses these big moral questions that colonization does. You either collaborate and rationalize and deal with the shame of that, or you resist and suffer the consequences of that. And there's just a whole world of things that happen in that situation, in that pressure.